What's going on, YouTube? So I'm going to show you guys my next little project I'm doing here. This car is experiencing slippage from 4th to 5th, which is typical E-clutch issues. And as you guys can see, I have dropped the transmission pan. I put the upgraded aluminum pan on here, and it has replaceable filters. But I mean, you can see my fluid's still nice and clean because I've done a transmission service on this twice. Anyways, I have an entire Mechatronic solenoid kit. Those little things right there, you can see they're yellow, like a bluish green and brown. I think they are actually supposed to be orange, I'm not sure. But I have all the new Mechatronic rubber seals as well, including the bridge seal. Well, they're not here, but they are on the way. They're coming in tomorrow, so I figured I'd go ahead and try to drop this entire valve body and just have it out so I can go ahead and start removing these solenoids, because the whole valve body has to come out. You have to release the, there's like a Mechatronic connector. It's actually located on top. This SWAT tab needs to be pulled down before it releases the Mechatronic connector. But, yeah, you see that little arm right there? I'm gonna point the screwdriver at it, if I can. Yes, right there. So I'm gonna try to turn that, just like so. I'm finishing trying to turn that connector out by hand. You can see I've got it kind of loosened up. It's starting to leak transmission fluid. So, let's see. What's holding this up? I don't want to force it if I can help it. Okay, so this is like the electrical connector that I'm trying to fight with right now. Yeah, okay, nothing broke. I was reading online something about the pins getting messed up if you're not careful, but you can see the pins, they can only get screwed up trying to reinstall this, and I'm assuming that's because the seal wasn't all the way in flush. So we want to make sure this thing is all the way in flush when we go back with installation. So now that we got that off, I might have to take a long pair of needle nose maybe and get this out. It don't matter if you screw this up or not trying to take it out. It's just going back in. You want to make sure you get this thing in right, because you will have an issue with bending the pins trying to get the connector back in. Oh, looky there. I think we got it, guys. Wow, this will be the first video on YouTube demonstrating how to remove this. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, if you have slightly large hands, this will be a challenge. So getting this back in place is not gonna be fun. Oh, no, I see the pins now. Look, you see those pins? Yeah, definitely do not want to bend those. You will have a really bad day, a very expensive day. I don't think you can bend these pins back. I was reading something, I think it was ZF's service manual said if you bend a pin, you cannot rebend it. Like, the pin it's done for. So I'm gonna try to get this camera up in there a little bit more for you guys, and I can't. Honestly, if the transmission mount was dropped, this job would be way easier and I can get a better view for you guys. So I'm assuming that's all we need to do to get that free. I have the actual electrical connector shoved up in there. You can see it right there. Yes, sir. So let's go ahead and we got that pulled down, like I said. I know I didn't record me taking the pan off, but if you guys are getting ready to tackle this job, removing the pan is going to be the least of your worries. So, but I'm just glad I was able to get that on video. Wow, what a mess. So, yeah, that's your Mechatronic connector sleeve gasket. And they do go bad and leak. So if you have a external leak coming from the top of your transmission pan, or it seems like the top of your transmission pan, that's the culprit every single time. So anyways, make sure you buy a bunch of paper towels. A drip pan would be amazing. Anyways, I'm gonna start dropping this whole valve body, and I think all the screws that you need to remove are T40s. You can see they're much larger than the other screws. So just zip out all the T40s you can find, and the valve body should just drop out completely. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. So yeah, they're all T40s, but you have 3 that actually, you can see I got these napkins up here. there's 3 that went up right here. There's that one, these 3, the short ones, the ones towards the back of the transmission. They're T40 still, but they're the shorter ones. Then you have, you know, the remaining ones there. But anyways, here's the transmission with the valve body removed. I have it laying right there. It's kind of heavy, I guess, because it's saturated in fluid. So just be ready when you start loosening up that last bolt, just to have a good grip on it when you drop it. Here's the Mechatronic seals right here that I'm going to be pulling out. That's the bridge seal. As you can see, it's the big one over there. Those need to be replaced. I have new ones on the way, like I said, new solenoids. Just wanted to go ahead and get this whole valve body out because it has to come out to replace the solenoids. So we actually have to break this valve body down a little bit more. You have to get the electronic portion, like this pin, this black piece. That's all your like electrical components. It needs to come off to expose the solenoids, and the solenoids have their own individual torque screws that we need to remove, or bolts, I mean. So yeah, here is your transmission. So clutches, please be good. Seals, please be bad. For God's sake. Okay guys, I'm gonna show you this little notch. So I have the old sleeve on. You guys can see at the very top. Well, it's kind of like at 11 o'clock there. There's a little plastic tab. So now I'm going to remove this and show you guys. So you see on this main pin housing right here, there's a slot, an opening right here. You see that where I'm pointing. So your sleeve has a plastic tab, as you can see. And when we go back installing this, we have to make sure it's lined up. That's the issue people have, is they don't get that lined up and they try to force this sleeve in, and that bends the pins. So trying to line that up underneath the car, trying to get everything back together may prove to be difficult, but that is the issue I imagine people have, and that's why ZF probably put that in the service manuals, to make sure that notch is lined up, and it pretty much just slides into place. And then that little tab with the ear on, we just kind of put back over top of this and turn it clockwise, and it locks that back in place. Okay guys, so to remove the Mechatronics block, you have, let's count them here. We have a short one. I can't remember where that came from, but so we have 6 long ones, and the 7th one is a little bit shorter than the rest. Matter of fact, so with the block on, it's these 2 up top, and you have these 2 right here, and then I believe 2 right here, and this one right there needs to come out, and that separates the block from the valve body. There's little guides on the valve body that the Mechatronic block slides into. So oh, actually they're on the block itself, and you kind of just have to work it out. But these are T27s, so I'm gonna bag these up, and now we have the solenoids exposed, so we got to remove these torques that hold in this like big long backing plate, and then we can remove the solenoids individually. Okay, so you have this bracket that holds the solenoids together. They are also T27s. So once you remove this and bag all your screws, these solenoids are ready to be removed. Since I do not have the new solenoids yet, I'm just going to leave them in place just to keep debris from getting inside these ports. They have little O-rings that seal them. So now we just need to wait for the new parts, and remove the seals inside the transmission. But again, I don't have those yet, so we will wait. Okay, this is the part of the video you guys probably want to pause and save all of these part numbers. So here's one of our Mechatronic sealing sleeves. Here's another one. That's the harness connector. And these are all ZF parts. Quantity 2 on this one. So just a heads up, 2 of these. Here's the big block bridge seal. So that's all the part numbers for the Mechatronic seals. These are OEM ZF parts. Here are the Mechatronic solenoids. Let's see where the part number is at here. So now I'm going to open these up, put these solenoids in the valve body, pull the old seals out, and put these new ones in now. Okay, so if you guys have one of these little orange picks, it will come in handy so you can get up in here and remove these one at a time so you can see exactly which one you pulled out to put the corresponding new one in. So this one's kind of wedged in here, so it doesn't really matter if you gouge this old seal, because obviously we're replacing it, but that sucker is in there. So let's try this outside one over here. Okay. I was struggling using the pick with that Mechatronic sleeve, so I just went ahead and replaced the bridge seal. As you can see right here, it just pops off, and then you just pop the new one in. It's pretty easy. Okay, so mine are stuck in there pretty good, but I grabbed a pair of really small needle nose that I have. So here's this one I just pulled out. This is the long one, so make sure when you pull it out you compare it to your new one just to make sure you have the right part. So here's the long one. Now I'm going to put the new one in its place. Okay, so I pulled that one out. It looks like it's the medium length one here, as you can see. So I'm going to compare those two. You can see it's the same part. So now let's put the new one in its place. Okay, so one of the two short ones, pulled it out. Here's the new one. Here we go. New one's going right up in. And these things are kind of hard to push in. So when you push them in, make sure you get them as flush as possible. Now the last one needs to be removed. Now just put the old seals in their corresponding bags just to have them. Put them over there. Now I'm gonna cut open the solenoid box and start working on pulling these out, because remember we took off that retaining plate on these, so these should pull right off. If you have one of those plastic pry tools that looks like a little fork, you can get in there and pull them out that way, but I'm gonna try to just grab them and pull them out by hand. Yeah, you can pull these out by hand. So here's the new ones. You can see the orange color has definitely darkened over time. So you have that yellow, and these that look kind of bluish green are actually supposed to be a nice crisp blue. So you can tell over time the colors kind of fade. But so yeah, just pull out your old solenoids and just replace them with the corresponding ones. When you install these, just make sure when you go back they're just in their proper alignment, so they will install upright like this. Hold on, let me grab this one. This will be a better example. Like that. The little rounded concave part goes up top. Okay, like I said, you can pull these out by hand. A little pry tool that's made out of plastic would help you a lot, because you may need leverage on some of them. Mine came out by hand, but putting in the new ones, they were actually kind of stiff, so they make a nice popping sound when they finally pop into place. So you can see I have all the new ones in, all the old ones laid out. So with the new solenoids in, now it's time to put the retaining bracket back on, and then reattach the Mechatronic block. Then we can put the whole assembly back into the transmission. Okay, so remember your Mechatronic block has guide pins that help you line everything up, because inside this big block is like the connector that slides into the pins of these individual solenoids. So it's like a one huge giant connector piece. So when you're putting this Mechatronic block back onto the valve body, you have this little brown section right here it's going to slide down. Like I said, you have these guide pins right here that help you kind of align the electronic block to the valve body. So when you're doing that, make sure you get this little piston right here aligned up with that notch right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slide this valve or this Mechatronics block up against my valve body. Let's see. Can you see that little notch right there? I'm trying to line up this piston with. So you get that lined up, then you can push this in place. So let me make sure that's in place. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over. I'm gonna push the rest of this Mechatronic block back in. This block's like a giant connector. So what it's doing, it's connecting to all your solenoids right here. But the most important thing is to make sure this piston is aligned with that little nub sticking out, because if not, when you put all this back together, your car's going to be stuck either in neutral or drive, and you won't be able to even start your car. So definitely make sure that notch is aligned. Okay, all screws are in and torqued. This is your short screw, by the way. Remember how I said all of them are long except for one? Well, that one short one goes in this corner right here. So now let's go ahead and put this up in the car. So one thing we need to do before we put this in is go ahead and look at that notch. See how it's positioned. It's not quite at 6 o'clock. It's more like it's around the 5 o'clock position. So when we go back with that Mechatronic connector sleeve, we want to make sure that we have that notch at the 5 o'clock position, trying to go back with reinstallation. So that seal will fit right into place, no issue, no headaches. Okay, when putting the valve body back into place, make sure that your shifter rod is also aligned with the piston and this little brown piece right here. So once both of those are all aligned inside this piston, you will not have any issues with the car not starting. So before you put the transmission pan back on, just go ahead and get in the car, put it on accessory, and make sure that it's in neutral, and shift through the gears, make sure everything's working before you button it all up. Okay, so I have the seal in place. As you can see, I put a little speck of orange paint just to kind of help guide me, so I didn't risk bending any of the pins. I really wish I could, well, I can kind of maybe get the phone up in here so you can see the notch is aligned. So that's what you're trying to do, is just get the notch aligned with the connector. So it has 2 O-rings on it, so I was barely able to fit my hand in here and push this in, but I was able to push it in. And then I used these needle nose. I'll show you exactly what I done. They kind of get in here and lay up against the seal like that, and then press up against it. So now all we have to do is pull this connector down. Yeah, now I'm just trying to get this connector in there. Well, it looks like I'm trying to, almost getting it in. I'm trying to just let everything kind of fall into place itself. I don't want to force anything. So this connector, I'm just kind of letting it fall into place. It feels like it's kind of getting in a jam right now. So I'm gonna see what I need to do. I don't know if I need to rotate it or what. But yeah, as you can see, it's gonna be a very tedious process. Let's see. Okay, I think I got it in. Now this is just, imagine this plastic ring, kind of slide, and once it twists, it'll lock itself in place. I hope I got that on video. So yeah, there we go. We have our Mechatronic sleeve and connector in. The white clip pushed it up, so it's all locked in place. Have the transmission pan bolted back on. You see I have the fuel port uncapped. So now we'll start putting fluid in it. and hope that we have fixed our slipping issue. So right now I'm putting some transmission fluid in it with this transfer pump. So right now we're doing just the cold fill, and then we start the car up, get it up to operating temperature, and then top it off that way. But right now we're just waiting for it to start draining or leaking the excess from the fuel plug whenever it accepts all of this. And then you know, of course, fill it up when it's up to temp, cap it off, drive it, and hope for the best. But overall, this job isn't that bad as long as you do everything. You know, you just take your time, make sure that piston is aligned with your shifter rod, make sure you push in your solenoids in flush, and it's really not that bad. The Mechatronic sleeve, it's not that bad once you mark it at that little 5 o'clock mark. And like I used fingernail polish, I put that little orange dot. If you guys have something like that to help mark the sleeve, it'll make it so much easier. If you have skinny hands, it'll make life a lot easier. You can drop the transmission mount if you need to, but I was able to squeeze my hand in there. I think you guys should be able to as well, unless you just have some very massive meat mittens. But anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.